Don't worry, she'll be with Orobas. Orobas, it's like Orobas, except with Orobas, you don't pay with your money, you pay with your very soul. All hail Orobas. Night of the Bastard was directed by Eric Bosio. I hope I pronounced that name right. Also based on a story that him and star London May wrote. London May plays Reed, not Lou Reed, Rex Reed, or Willis Reed. If you understand that MST3K reference, I love you guys. And it was also written by Kristen Ackerman and Chuck Foster. Foster, Australian for beer. I'm not meaning to mock in a mean way. Actually, it's just me having a whole lot of fun because I had a lot of fun watching Night of the Bastard. I really hope I don't get flagged for putting Night of the Bastard in full for the title of the review. So yes, they did a movie called Zombie 2019, which I wonder if it had anything close to the Italian version of Zombie. I believe Zombie with an I. Nevertheless, this is basically a home invasion movie with a cult trying to get into a house and get a couple people to be part of their ritual that'll bring about the mighty demon Orobas. So yeah, as far as minimalist horror goes, this is about as minimalist as you can get. I do want to praise the practical effects, and I want to praise the grindhouse camera usage because they make it look gritty and like this shit could actually happen. And while the acting isn't necessarily stellar, there's a few neat little bits in this, and the cast certainly seem to have fun with it, and it's actually fun to watch. I can't say it's one of my absolute favorite movies ever, but as far as a movie called Night of the Bastard, I had to watch it based on the title, and I did end up having quite a bit of fun. So, yes, there's a cult. They worship Orobas, and there's like a few of them. They have weird campfire rituals, and then they target people that happen to be stupid enough to go near their ritual, that literally you have to be an absolute moron to go near this cult that clearly isn't doing all that well. As far as mentally, they're just totally off their goddamn rocker because they worship a demon that will rise from the underworld. So, London May's Reed is a recluse. He doesn't want anybody on his property, anywhere near his property. And then some campers happen to show up, led by Maya Hudson, who plays Kira, and a couple other people, her boyfriend Pete, and their friend George, and they are told to get off the property. Well, they do, and then they are besieged by the cult because they happen to be stupid enough to go right there and say, oh, this looks fun, clearly these people are normal, and then shit goes south, and Kira has to escape back to Reed's compound, and from there, we end up having a horror movie where they have to kind of come together and solve this mystery before they are Orobas history, Orobas tales, woohoo. Yeah, that's just worming that goddamn DuckTales reference in there. Honestly, from there, we have the usual cliches of, people being in cults and all this wild action. And I do want to praise Hannah Pierce, who plays Claire. She is quite lovely and also seems to be sinking her teeth into this silly role, because the movie at its heart, while seeming like something could actually happen, like if you're isolated out there, weird shit like this could happen, it's also meant to just be fun and ridiculous and with a little bit of realism sprinkled in, and two absolute strangers that don't get along having to come together to basically try and fight back against this invading force. So yes, it's a minimalist horror movie. There's good practical effects. The movie obviously was low budget, and that's not a knock at all. If you have ingenuity, you can make a low budget movie work. And everybody involved actually does make this work for the most part. This ended up being quite a surprise of an independent horror movie. Is it spectacular? No, but it's a fun ride, and clearly the cast was having fun, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for the most part. I have some issues. The characters are a bit too annoying at times, which I assume was just meant to be over the top of the grindhouse feel and all that. And maybe you could consider the ending a bit of a pseudo-downer, but in all honesty, given the choices that were made by these various characters, it's quite frankly amazing that any of them were able to get out of bed, because really Reed is about the only semi-intelligent person. Maya Hudson is given some things to do, and then they kind of make her, it's just a bit uneven at times, but then again, when you are being attacked by a cult that doesn't worship blue oysters, I've been a round kid and I've been a square kid, another MST3K reference for no goddamn reason, it ends up being something that is quite fun overall. So I would recommend you guys check this out. I ordered it on Amazon, ran it on Amazon for a few bucks. Support independent horror filmmakers. You never know what they could end up creating if you just support their local projects. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but do let me know in the comments. That being said, I am going to get into spoilers here, even though the spoilers are going to be minimalist because it is minimalist horror. Anyway, check it out on Amazon for just a few bucks. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so the whole thing is, in the beginning of the movie, in the beginning, there was rap, as our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said. Actually, they're in 1978. And we get two characters. I had to write this down. Chuck and Lily, the actress playing Lily, she's quite fetching. They go to this friend's house, but this friend's house has been besieged by a cult. And there you go. Also, Lily's pregnant. And after a sacrifice happened, she'll be with Orobas, not Carabas. And what ends up happening is the unborn are cut out of the stomach. Like, oh my God, this is horrible. And Chuck's also killed. And then we flash forward to 40 years later. So apparently this is taking place in 2018, not in current day. And Reed has his own compound and is just living out. He makes his own mead, has his own stuff, and has a pet turtle. There you go. And then Kara and her friends are camping, partying. Pete decides to be a full-on goddamn dickweed. George is being the only intelligent person. Like, this guy's holding a gun. We should leave. They do. The camera works a bit wonky at times, but also does have, kind of a cool grindhouse feel to it since this is a minimalist production. And Pete ends up dying. George ends up dying. And Kara is stabbed, but she gets to Reed's compound. They have to basically, put aside their differences to survive. Well, Reed, in his infinite wisdom, left his shotgun in the shed. Why? So he doesn't off himself, because he's really, really depressed, living out in the middle of nowhere. Also, there's a few revelations a little bit later on, including one that I think you probably should have been able to figure out from the very beginning. They end up picking off the cultists bit by bit, row by row. And well, there's some flowery language about Orobas and all this. We'll let you live. Just give us the girl. Well, one gets blown away by Kira. That was actually a pretty good practical effect. Guy getting shot in the head. And Reed suggests, hey, go get your car. Go to your car. Here's your keys that somehow were left in the house. Go get your keys. You forgot you had this. Go get the keys. So she is eventually going to go do that, but first they try to get in his truck. His truck's all torched and destroyed and beat up and ripped apart, and then Claire says, oh, you were looking for this, and drops the battery and everything and all that, and the starter or whatever in the goddamn thing. I don't know that much about vehicles. She gets rid of an important part. Then Reed says, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like, we got to get to your car. So she goes to get to her car, and her car is totally torn up. Meanwhile, Reed is trying to fight back against them. There's a few fights and stuff like that, before this, as the people eventually, chip them down and are trying to get in, but, they're getting beat up as well, because when your back's against the wall, you're going to come out swinging. One cultist member survives a leg wound for a really, really long time. And then they end up, Kira ends up coming back. Reed ends up getting captured because, of course, why the hell not? And it turns out that both are needed for this particular ritual. Well, why the hell is Reed needed for this ritual? Well, it turns out, and Claire tells the story, that she was born in this ritual and everything, and now she didn't realize that she had a twin brother. You want to guess who the twin brother is? Reed. And they're going to procreate and create an incest demon child. Gross. And whatever, this certainly handled the whole incest thing a whole lot better than what Josiah saw. Fuck what Josiah saw. The movie was terrible. This, however, was ridiculous because of the bonkers demon stuff and whatever, and that ends up happening. And then they just leave him. They're going to just leave him and let them bleed out because they have wounds and stuff like that. And then he says, leave. By the way, leave. Also, the cultists decide to torture him by throwing his gun and the turtle over a fence, and the turtle is never seen again. Or is the turtle never seen again? You don't torture animals, but then again, it actually wasn't a turtle that they threw. They showed a close spot and then threw something that clearly wasn't the goddamn turtle. You don't torture animals. Well, then they decide, hey, we're going to team up and destroy them. So they kill 2 of them, and then they get in a fight with one of the main thugs. It looks like he was straight out of the Power Rangers early seasons, and in a fight with Claire. And they're fighting and beating each other up and doing all this. And Kira ends up getting killed, seemingly. But Reed will continue to fight back, and he eventually does. He gets stabbed in the back, but stabs and kills his sister, and she's dead. So that whole procreation, incest, demon baby thing isn't going to end up happening. And he's all upset. He has a gun. He has the gun. He's going to shoot himself. And then suddenly the turtle shows back up. How did the turtle get through the fence? I have so many questions. Yes, about the turtle getting through the fence. Not about the demonic cult and everything, but just about how the turtle got through the fence. Nevertheless, all these dead bodies are here. The police never show up. And that's it. That is it. That is Night of the Bastard. Okay. I mean, hey, it was entertaining. I can't say that it wasn't. I look forward to what everybody else involved can do. Let's see what Eric Bosio, I, again, hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I do apologize. Let's see what else he can do. Fine effort. Fine effort there for an independent horror movie. Agree, disagree. B+, by the way, B+, for entertainment aspect. There you go. Agree, disagree what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Replin. I'll see you soon.